Have you ever wondered why you suddenly agree with someone, even when you wanted to say no? The scary part is, most people don't control you by force. They use simple psychological tricks that make you believe the decision was actually your idea. And once you recognize these tricks, you'll start seeing them everywhere. In friendships, relationships, work, and even everyday conversations. Stay until the end, because the last technique is the one most people never notice.
Self-respect social conditioning. Self-respect is one of the most powerful forms of education, yet many people grow up learning almost everything except how to protect their dignity. But who teaches us how to say no without guilt? Who teaches us to leave situations where we are constantly disrespected? This is why self-respect can feel almost illegal. In a world that benefits from people who are easy to control, the idea is not that self-respect is literally illegal. The real problem is social conditioning. From childhood, many people are rewarded for obedience and punished for questioning unfair treatment. Over time, they may confuse being respectful with accepting disrespect. Psychology explains something important. Repeated behavior can become an identity. If you constantly silence your opinions to keep everyone happy, your brain can start treating silence as safety. If you always apologize when you did nothing wrong, guilt can become automatic. And if you keep accepting disrespect because you fear rejection, you may forget what healthy boundaries look like. Self-respect changes that pattern. It means understanding your value without believing you are better than anyone else. It means setting boundaries without becoming cruel. It means saying, "I respect you, but I will not accept this behavior." That sentence can change a relationship because it communicates confidence without aggression. But here is the uncomfortable part. When you develop self-respect, some people may not like the new version of you, not because you became a bad person, but because you stopped being predictable. Self-respect is psychological independence. You stop measuring your worth through other people's reactions and stop measuring your choices through your values. Real self-respect creates strength. You become calmer, clearer, and less dependent on approval from people too. So ask yourself, if you had no fear of rejection, who would you become? The answer may reveal exactly where your self-respect needs to begin. Self-respect, hidden manipulation. Most people think manipulation always looks obvious, but sometimes it sounds like advice. Sometimes it sounds like love, and sometimes it sounds like you should respect everyone. Respect is important. But there is a psychological difference between respecting people and surrendering your own boundaries. When someone teaches you that, keeping everyone happy is more important than protecting yourself, they may be creating a dangerous habit, approval dependency. Imagine someone constantly criticizes you. You explain yourself, apologize, and try harder to make them happy. They continue doing it, and you continue adjusting yourself. Eventually, your brain learns a simple pattern. Their approval means safety, while disagreement means danger. This is where manipulation becomes powerful. A person may use guilt, silence, anger, or emotional pressure to make you question your own decisions. They might say, "If you really cared about me, you would do this." Suddenly, your boundary becomes selfishness, and their demand becomes a test of your love. Psychology teaches us that repeated emotional pressure can change how we respond. Instead of asking, "Is this right for me?" you may start asking, "Will they be angry if I say no?" That small change reveals that your decision is being controlled by fear rather than personal values. Self-respect breaks this cycle. It does not mean becoming rude, aggressive, or selfish. It means recognizing that another person's disappointment is not automatically your responsibility. You can care about someone and still disagree with them. You can love someone and still walk away from harmful behavior. The strongest boundary is often simple. "I understand your feelings, but my answer is still no." That sentence may feel uncomfortable at first because your brain is used to seeking approval. But every healthy boundary teaches your mind that disagreement is not danger. And here is the biggest lesson. People who genuinely respect you may not always agree with you, but they will respect your right to choose. So if saying no makes you feel guilty, stop and ask yourself one question. Am I being kind? Or am I being controlled by the fear of disappointing someone? Because self-respect begins the moment you stop abandoning yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. Self-respect, mental freedom. What happens when you stop needing everyone to approve of you? At first, it can feel uncomfortable. You may feel guilty for saying no. You may wonder if people will leave. You may even question whether you are becoming selfish. But this discomfort is often a sign that you are breaking an old psychological pattern. Many people are trained to connect their self-worth with external approval. If people praise them, they feel valuable. If someone criticizes them, they feel worthless. This creates a hidden trap. Your emotional state becomes controlled by other people's opinions. Self-respect offers another way. It teaches you that your value does not rise when someone compliments you. And it does not disappear when someone rejects you. Your worth is not a public vote. Think about how often you change yourself to avoid criticism. You hide your opinion. You accept unfair treatment. You say yes when you want to say no. You stay silent because you are afraid of being misunderstood. Over time, these small choices can become a habit. Psychology shows that repeated behavior strengthens patterns in the brain. The more you abandon your own needs for approval, the easier it becomes to do it again. But the opposite is also true. Every time you communicate a healthy boundary, you practice self-respect. Every time you say no without unnecessary guilt, you build confidence. Every time you walk away from disrespect instead of chasing acceptance, you teach your mind that your dignity matters. Self-respect is not about believing you are better than everyone else. It is about refusing to believe you are less than everyone else. And there is a powerful consequence. When you stop desperately seeking approval, your relationships become clearer. People who value you will usually adapt to healthy boundaries. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may become uncomfortable. That difference tells you something important. You do not need to convince everyone to respect you. You need to decide what behavior you will accept. So remember this, peace does not always come from making everyone happy. Sometimes peace begins when you finally stop betraying yourself just to keep other people comfortable. That is the psychology of real self-respect. Self-respect, silent strength. Self-respect does not always look powerful from the outside. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like walking away. And sometimes it is simply refusing to explain yourself to someone who has already decided to misunderstand you. Many people believe strength means winning arguments, proving your point, or making others recognize your value. But psychological strength can be much quieter. When you have self-respect, you do not need to react to every insult. You do not need to answer every accusation. You understand that your attention is valuable and not everyone deserves access to it. This is difficult because the human brain naturally wants social acceptance. Rejection can feel painful because belonging has always been important to survival. That is why criticism, exclusion, and disapproval can trigger strong emotional reactions. But self-respect teaches you to pause before reacting. Someone insults you. You breathe. Someone tries to provoke you. You think, someone crosses your boundary. You respond clearly. You stop allowing another person's behavior to control your emotional state. This does not mean tolerating abuse or staying silent when something truly matters. It means choosing your response instead of giving someone else control over it. There is another hidden benefit. When you stop constantly defending yourself, you begin to understand yourself better. You discover which battles are worth fighting and which ones only drain your energy. People with strong self-respect are not necessarily the loudest people in the room. They may be calm, polite, and friendly, but underneath that calmness is a clear internal rule. I know what I will accept, and I know what I will not accept. That rule creates emotional freedom. And sometimes, the most powerful response to disrespect is not revenge. It is distance. You do not have to destroy someone who hurt you. You do not have to prove that they were wrong. You can simply remove yourself from the situation and continue building your life. Remember, self-respect is not about controlling other people. It is about controlling your own choices. The moment you stop chasing respect from people who refuse to give it, you become much harder to manipulate. That is not weakness. That is silent strength. Self-respect, personal boundaries. Why do some people feel guilty every time they protect themselves? The answer often begins with conditioning. Many people grow up believing that being a good person means always helping, always agreeing, and always putting others first. But when kindness has no boundaries, it can slowly become self-neglect. Self-respect begins when you understand that your needs matter too. A boundary is not a wall against people. It is a clear message about how you expect to be treated. It can be as simple as saying, I am not comfortable with that, or I cannot do this right now. Yet many people struggle to say these words because they fear rejection. They imagine that saying no will make someone angry. They worry that setting limits will make them look selfish. So they keep accepting things they dislike, hoping that people will eventually understand their feelings without being told. But people cannot always read your mind. When you never communicate a boundary, others may assume everything is acceptable. Then resentment grows. You become frustrated, but you continue saying yes. Eventually, you may blame others for crossing limits that you never clearly communicated. Healthy self-respect changes this. You learn to communicate directly instead of silently expecting people to understand. You say what you can accept and what you cannot.
You do it without unnecessary anger and
Without trying to control another person's choices. There is also an important psychological lesson. Discomfort does not always mean you are doing something wrong. Sometimes discomfort simply means you are doing something unfamiliar. If you have spent years pleasing everyone, your first honest no may feel terrible. Your heart may race. You may feel guilty, but that feeling does not mean your boundary is wrong. It may simply mean your brain is adjusting to a new behavior. With practice, the guilt becomes smaller and your confidence becomes stronger. And remember this, the right people may not always like your boundaries, but they will understand that you have them. Self-respect is not about becoming difficult to love. It is about becoming impossible to ignore when it comes to your own dignity. So stop asking, will everyone be happy with my decision? Start asking, is this decision healthy, honest, and respectful to myself? That question can completely change your life. Self-respect, emotional control. The most dangerous thing about low self-respect is that it can feel normal. You may continue your life without realizing that you have slowly accepted behavior you would never want for someone you love. Psychology shows that repeated experiences can shape expectations. If people repeatedly ignore your feelings, criticize your choices, or cross your boundaries, you may eventually stop expecting better treatment. That is the hidden damage of disrespect. The problem becomes deeper when you start blaming yourself. You think, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I should tolerate it. But asking for basic respect is not asking for perfection. Self-respect means noticing the difference between a mistake and a pattern. Everyone can make a mistake. A healthy person can apologize, learn, and change. Repeated disrespect without accountability is different. You do not have to keep explaining your pain to someone who repeatedly chooses to ignore it. This is where boundaries become powerful. A boundary tells people what you will do when a behavior continues. It is not a threat, it is a decision. Many people create boundaries but abandon them when someone becomes angry. That teaches the other person that pressure works. It also teaches your own mind that your words do not matter. Every time you keep a healthy boundary, you build self-trust. Self-trust is a foundation of self-respect. You begin to believe that you can protect yourself, make decisions, and survive someone's disappointment. You stop chasing people who only value you when you are useful. You stop begging for basic kindness. You stop confusing emotional pain with proof that a relationship must be saved. You can care without surrendering your dignity. Respect should not have to be begged for or earned through self-destruction. If protecting your peace makes someone uncomfortable, the discomfort does not automatically mean you are wrong. Sometimes the most important person you learn to respect is yourself. Self-respect, final awakening. What if the reason you keep accepting disrespect is not because you are weak, but because you were never taught another way? Many people spend years learning how to please others, avoid conflict and stay accepted. But very few are taught how to protect their dignity when someone crosses a line. That is why self-respect can feel uncomfortable at first. When you finally say no, someone may call you selfish. When you stop chasing someone, they may call you cold. When you refuse to accept disrespect, they may say you have changed. And you have changed. But changing does not always mean becoming worse. Sometimes it means finally becoming honest with yourself. Self-respect is the ability to recognize your value without needing constant confirmation from other people. It means you can accept criticism without allowing it to destroy your identity. You can accept rejection without believing that you are worthless. Most importantly, you can walk away from situations that repeatedly damage your dignity. This does not mean you should leave every difficult relationship or reject every criticism. Growth requires honest feedback. The difference is whether the relationship allows mutual respect, communication, and accountability. A psychologically healthy person can admit mistakes without becoming a doormat. They can apologize without humiliating themselves. They can love deeply without losing their identity. They can say yes from choice and no without fear. That is real freedom. So if you have spent your life trying to make everyone comfortable, start making one change. Stop automatically abandoning yourself. Before saying yes, ask yourself whether you genuinely want to do it. Before apologizing, ask whether you actually did something wrong. Before chasing someone who ignores you, ask whether their behavior matches the respect you deserve. And before changing yourself to keep someone, ask whether you are losing yourself in the process. Self-respect is not a single decision. It is a daily practice. Every boundary, every honest answer, every healthy no, and every decision to leave disrespect behind strengthens it. Maybe self-respect was never illegal. Maybe the real problem was that nobody taught you how powerful it could be. And once you learn it, you become much harder to control.